Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Elisha Robinson, your integrative healing specialist. And guess what? I have Jimmy McIlroy. Well, let me stop calling him Jimmy. Jim McIlroy here with us, coming live from Rockford, of course, Rockford, Illinois, but he heralds from Syracuse, New York, uptown New
Yep,
York.
yep.
And he's here with us because you all know the importance of food. And food is the number one thing that I talk about as far as nutrition and boosting your immunity. This gentleman is well above his time because he has a wonderful company called Food for Few. And they believe in providing portion controlled, nutrient dense meals at fast food pricing. And of course, I love fast food pricing because my pockets, I gotta be careful with my pockets, especially during COVID-19 and everything that's been going on. And I'm pretty sure people, our viewers and our listeners can appreciate you. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Jimmy.
Yeah, you bet. Well, thank you very much for having me on here, Dr. Robinson. I'm grateful to be here with you and your listeners. And Food for Fuel, we are in our seventh year, and we have been practicing this. It all started. My wife, my oldest son, and I all started on a health conscious journey ourselves over 10 years ago. And during that process, we lost 69 pounds between the three of us in 90 days. During that time, for 2 years, I became a health coach and I helped other people on their journey. And then throughout that whole 2 years, what I realized is I could help people get to like a 10-pound weight loss just out of momentum and ambition and desire, but it didn't create sustainability and lifestyle changes unless we really took a hard look at, just like you said, at the food side of it. And food is fuel for our body. So that's where we came up with the name of the company. I said, you know what? I need to start a company that will help people where they're at, help them really learn and understand that food is fuel for our body. And we need to really make that the number one priority. Exercise is important. Mindfulness around it is important, but there's nothing more important than what we put in our body when it comes to fueling ourselves. And a lot of times the standard American diet, SAD, the SAD is really unhealthy, naturally. And we're all so busy and we all go through fast food drive-thrus all the time. We're always looking for the path of least resistance. Right. Unfortunately, the path of least resistance for most of us Americans ends up becoming unhealthy habits. And it affects us as adults and parents, and it affects our children. So we started a business because we saw the impact that food had on our lives, and we wanted to share that with other people. And we knew that with busy, a lot of times two working parents or a single working, mom, let's say, and it's just busy. So if we could help make nutritionally dense, portion controlled meals available to people that they could just reheat and eat, we thought that would help solve a really big problem.
So I need you to back up for a minute because as you were talking, I was doing a little bit of math in my head, and you told me that your son and your wife lost 70 pounds over 3 months. So I was kind of calculating, that's almost 20, 21, 22 pounds each amongst you guys.
Yeah.
Number one, who lost the most?
I did. I had the most to lose, I think, at the time.
And number two, how did you do it over? Because most of our listeners, they're on because they have gained that COVID-19 15. You know how when you go away to college and you gain a freshman 15, most of us, even myself, even Dr. Robinson, who was a health nut, I gained weight during COVID-19. And tell us, how can our listeners, what did you do? What did you implement? What strategies did you implement to lose that amount of weight over a 3-month period of time?
Yeah, so back then that was really, that was quite a while ago. I think it was probably 10. We've been doing this for 7 years now, so it was about 10 years ago when we had done that. And really what it came down to, it was simple. It really is like more of an elimination of the stuff that I knew was harmful to me. I had to pretty much keep it simple. Like I knew the stuff that I was eating that was bad for me, right?
Which
so
is?
We know if we think about it.
List them off. What are the bad stuff?
We know when we're going to fast food drive-thrus and we're eating chips and we're eating donuts and we're eating cereal and we're eating ice cream and we're eating processed stuff and we're eating high, like bread and carbs and stuff like that. We know it's not good for us. We know it. We know when we go and eat 12 chocolate chip cookies and dip them in milk, it's not healing us or helping us. We know that. So I had to come in, I had to become true with myself and recognize that. And I had to back it up a little bit and say, okay, it's either helping me or it's hurting me. And this is what, we talked about, as we went through this process. And so now let's make simple decisions. We know if we go and get fries from fast food restaurants that have been dipped in oil, that's unhealthy. Whereas if we eat broccoli and cauliflower and green beans, that's healthy. We know that if we eat donuts and cereal, it's unhealthy, right? Mm-hmm. And if we eat sweet potatoes and brown rice, it's healthy. So it's that type of mindset. We know that if we're drinking soda, it's unhealthy. If we're drinking water, it's good for us. So it had to come down to keeping it simple, the old KISS formula, because it could be very overwhelming for a lot of us, especially when we're used to, old habits die hard. And a lot of us are, the addictive nature, the addictive personality that's in most of us is sometimes it's not even the soda, it's the pattern. When we go to work and we drive by this certain place, we always have to stop at that certain place all the time because that's a habit. So we always get in and get a candy bar and a soda, and we think that we're fueling ourselves, or we're having breakfast on our way to work. So it's we really have to have a conscious. And so what we did is we called it elevated health consciousness, where we really had to literally elevate our health consciousness to the point where we thought about, if I do this, is it going to help me or is it going to hurt me? If I eat that, is it going to help me or is it going to hurt me? And then together we also got into, what, like this says here, my shirt says move more, live more. We got into just as a family walking more, going to parks and hiking and, just being active instead of sitting around on our phone and watching TV all the time. We transferred that time into things that were beneficial and helpful for us.
Wow, that is amazing. I love that terminology. I might have to write that down.
Yeah, elevated,
elevated consciousness. And so it's funny that you said that, because I wrote a book with a good friend of mine. It's called The Top 10 Ways to Lose Waste. And the first thing we talk about is changing your mindset. You have to change your mindset. In order to make changes, the first thing you have to do is you have to really geek yourself and psych yourself into this lifestyle change. Because if you don't have that elevated consciousness, then you're going to fail. It won't be long lasting, and it'll just be a trend that just lasted a few days to a few weeks. After you lost the amount of weight that you wanted to lose, you go back to unhealthy lifestyle. So tell me about Food for Fuel. Where did the name come from? How was it started? And what does it look like now?
Yeah, you bet. So, and I think you're right. The elevated health consciousness, if we don't have that, then we naturally have a subconscious, unhealthy mindset. That's the path of least resistance, as we talked about. So the name Food for Fuel is because we did really want people to think about food for fueling our body. That's what it is. It's the fuel our body needs. God designed our bodies to heal itself by itself when given half the chance. If we give it half the chance, our body's going to do what it's going to do. Yours is going to do what it's going to do to heal itself. Mine is going to do we're all a little bit different. So how we get there might be a little bit different, and how our bodies respond. It's not all about losing weight. And so creating that sustainable, healthy mindset of an elevated health consciousness gives us that long-term look. And then the other thing that we did, and it really on point with what you said, Dr. Robinson, is we really would try to identify the why. It's not just like, I don't just want to lose weight so that I could look good at my son's wedding. I don't just want to look good because I'm going on vacation next week and I want to be on the beach. And, it's not like I want to lose weight to go on vacation and then I want to come home and put 30 pounds back on. That's not the right mindset. And that's not what the real mindset is. But sometimes we put like an unrealistic goal that's not a lifestyle change. It's just an immediate fix kind of thing. So if we can get into thinking of food for fueling our bodies, we can have sustainable change that is lifelong. And it's not easy, especially like as you discussed. I mean, at the beginning here, COVID-19 has been tough for all of us. It's been tough for me. I mean, I shared that on some of my videos of how I put on some weight because I got into the comfort food eating mindset. I got into the, really of just some stress and anxiousness around myself and my family. And I made some poor decisions, and it snowballed quickly for all of us. Even when we are health conscious, it can still, get us. So without health consciousness, I guarantee we're 100% in big trouble when it comes to, our health. Because with health consciousness, we struggle a little bit. But we started the business out of another restaurant's kitchen, and we just said, they started slowing down during lunchtime, and so we're like, hey, you know what? Can we come in and utilize your kitchen space? I want to start building this business. If you want to help me kind of get this kick started, I'll pay you to help, so that I can have my food here and we can cook it together and I'll sell it and, that type of thing. So we did that for the first 11 months. And then that gentleman was going to close down his restaurant because it just wasn't going, the way that they had, had planned. It was a long restaurant that they had here for a long time, and they're in their end days, unfortunately. And so we had to find a new home. And so we moved 6 years ago into the Carlson Ice Arena.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a Rockford Park District property.
Yeah.
And And so we moved in there, and we love our relationship with them. It's been wonderful for us. And I had a total knee replacement about a year and a half into our business, and it set me back, and I had to shut the business down for a little bit. And that's when we met, actually, when I had gone to work for another company in town for a short period of time. While we were holding on to our dream and working with Carlson Ice Arena to keep the dream alive. And then shortly, after, we were able to get it back and going again, and the community has just totally embraced us. And we've been able to help a lot of people on their health conscious journey. And in doing so, Dr. Robinson, we help people that can afford our services. And by them allowing us to serve them, we take some of those proceeds and we help people in our community that cannot afford our services. So we feed a lot of the hungry, the underserved, and the homeless, and we just absolutely love doing that.
So you pack food up?
Yeah.
Are they in sandwich bags? How does it work? How does it look? How does it work? Do you deliver? Do people order online? Do you call the Uber? How does it work in order to get food for fuel?
So we have a website. It's called foodforfuel.com. And there's plenty of different ways to order there. But people get their orders in online. They do a pre-order and get it in by noon on Sunday. And then we have it ready for them to pick up on Monday. At what we call our grab and go inside the kitchen at Carlson Ice Arena. People can come in and give us a name, and we give them their bag, and they're good to go, and they get their food for the week. There's also people that come in during that time and pick out of our refrigerator. We put extra meals in there for retail setting for people who just want to come in and try us out for the first time. Or if they just want to pick up, 3 meals, 5 meals, 10 meals right out of the fridge, they can do that. And we also deliver on that same Monday night. So we've got partners in the community, gyms and other health conscious partners, where we have a food for fuel refrigerator where you can pre-order, and then whether you belong to that gym or if you live in the area, customers can select that as the drop site, and we'll deliver it to that site. Let's say it's right next to their work, and they can go pick it up after work and take it home instead of coming over to us. And so that's another way that people can get food. We do deliver residential as well. We've got 4 trucks that deliver around town. And right now we go up as far as South Beloit. We go out to Freeport. We go down to Rochelle. We go out to Belvedere. And of course, Rockton, Roscoe, McChesney Park, Loves Park. So we cover Fitness Junction, that's in Davis Junction. So we cover quite a bit of territory as far as delivery and stuff as well.
Awesome. What food do you have in your meals?
Yeah, so people can customize their own meal. We have all the different proteins you can think of. Chicken, 5 different flavors, and we got some chicken breast, lean chicken. We got pork. We got chicken sausage. We got chicken meatballs. We have USDA sirloin steak. We got turkey. We got ground turkey. We got ground beef. And then we also do wild-caught salmon, wild-caught shrimp, wild-caught cod. So people can choose their protein, and then they can choose if they would like a carb with it, like a sweet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, 5-grain mix, black beans, roasted potatoes. So there's so many different, choices there that they can have, and then they choose their vegetables. So you can actually go into the website and create 7 or 15 or 20 of they want to try to meet people where they're at and what their restrictions are, what their diet is, and what their, whatever their doctor recommends that they eat. So we do have several doctors also that refer their patients to us, and so that we can help them on their diet. We do vegetarian, we do vegan, keto, paleo. We have a lot of just low carb as well. That would be just like protein and double veggies, without the carbs in it. So we do have a nice mix there. Do a lot of salads, do breakfast, do lunches, do dinners, and they come in little containers that it's about, the average meal is 4 ounces of protein, half
Yeah.
a cup of the complex carb, 1 cup of veggie. So again, nutritionally dense, and Dr. Robinson, what a lot of people find out is that they look at that meal. Sometimes we work with a lot of people that, eat big, eat a lot. And so when they look at a meal like that, they're like, man, this is just a little snack. How am I going to fill up on this? But after they eat it, they're like, holy cow, I actually pretty full. And the reason why, as you know, is it's nutritionally dense. And so it's got what our body wants. So a lot of times what people find is that they eat it and their body's like, wow, that actually feels good. They could have eaten 1,000 calories of fast food and not felt, full, because 15 minutes later, their body's going to crave something else because they didn't get any nutritional density. So that's why we overeat a lot of times, because our body wants it and we're looking for it. But if we give it the green beans, if we give it the sweet potatoes, if we give it the lean proteins, it says, thank you very much. I appreciate this and I'm fulfilled right now, So that's what it is.
What about smoothies? Do you have smoothies as a?
We don't do smoothies. We do have cold pressed juices though, and we also have other snacks that when people they can order that online too with their meal packs. But they also, when people come in to pick up their meal, we have a bunch of other little healthy snack options that they can grab a couple of this and purchase a few of those. And cold pressed juices is one of those. And then we have what we call Rock Famous, a peanut butter protein bite that people just absolutely love around here. We got a few.
What about dessert? Do you get dessert?
Yes, there is some of that in there too. We have some like gluten-free smart cakes that is kind of like a little mini cupcake, and smart muffins, and stuff like that. So yes, we do have some of that too.
So who do you have cooking these meals?
We've got a team of people that do it. I've been doing it on and off for 7 years myself, and we've got different people throughout the week that are doing, because we also package a lot of meals that a lot of food we cook. Like for instance, we have jalapeno, avocado, cheddar cheese burgers that we make. We make our meatloaf. We make our turkey burger with sun-dried tomatoes, feta cheese, and spinach. And so we pre-make a whole bunch of that during the week, and we quick flash freeze them, and then they're ready for us for next week. We can't quite make everything fresh, on the morning of production. So we have a team of people that do that throughout the week as well. And then we got a different team of people on Sunday and a different team of people on Monday. So we've got a really good team that helps me get it all done.
That's amazing. So how many meals a day do you make, and how many meals a day on average you say you would do on a busy day?
Yeah. So, and of course, as we know now with COVID, everybody in the food business, everybody in business, it's a little bit different, right? But we've had days where we've done as many as 2,000 units in a day, and we have packed that. And it is we've had at times where we might have 12 people in the kitchen that are just going nuts, packaging meals and putting them all together. It's actually fun chaos. And the one thing that our team loves is that when we really think about it, every single meal that we put together is positively impacting a life, because I also look at the fact of crowding out. And this is something that I learned when I got my certificate at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, is that crowding out is important. Crowding out just basically means is I am going to crowd out eating some of the junk and drinking some of the junk by entering in some of the good. So every time I eat a portion controlled nutritionally dense meal, it's a high likelihood that I just crowded out eating a non-nutritionally dense garbage filled meal, and every time I drink a cold pressed juice or drink a bottle of water, it's a high likelihood that I just crowded out drinking a high sugary soda or something like that. So the crowded out mentality is something I think that is really, really, really important, and it helps people a lot. We really preach that in an elevated health conscious mindset as well.
Good. So who are your demographics? Who do you mostly serve? Who do you mostly see buying your meals?
So we have a really diverse clientele and customer base. Really, anybody and everybody that we serve is somebody who's on a health conscious journey. So we look at it and say, whether we're on one or we need to be on one, we can help when you're ready. So we really truly try to just market to everybody that eats, which is all of us. And then we just say, hey, when you need us, if you need us and you want to help elevate your health consciousness and put the blinders on and relearn what portion control looks like, relearn what healthy eating looks like, then we could do that. What happens too, this is something that's really cool, is a lot of people end up using our containers because they're microwave safe, dishwasher safe, BPA free, and the people end up reusing them. And maybe for 2 or 3 weeks they order from us, and then they start making their own because they remember now what portion control looks like. They remember, what it's like to eat and satisfy your body and not have to overconsume and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that we love to see. But we work with a lot of people that are looking to lose weight naturally, right? Or lower their blood sugar, or lower their sodium, or lower their blood pressure. All that type of stuff. People that just maybe have come back from the doc, and the doc or you has said to somebody, "Hey, we got to get this under control. Things are not looking, good by the others." And the first place to start is cleaning up what you're eating. So those people a lot of times end up, coming to us and saying, "Hey, my doc recommended that I, call you and see how you can help."
So you actually, on your website, do you have a diabetic page? Do you have a high blood pressure page? Do you have a congestive heart failure page? Do you have where people can go to and say, okay, my doctor said I have diabetes. I have certain things that I can and cannot eat? Because a lot of patients, believe it or not, from my point of view, don't understand what to eat. And so do you have it where they go to your website and they say, okay, this is good for me because I have diabetes, so I should stick with these type of meal plans, or I have high blood pressure, so do you have like a low sodium meal type where they can kind of like choose according to their diagnoses or comorbidity?
That's a great question, and we are working on that on the website. We have made a lot of changes on it, and just relaunched a new website within this past year. So we don't have that right now specifically, per those, like you said, of high blood pressure, diabetes. But what we do tell everybody, again, using that crowding out mentality, is that let's just start with eating good, nutritionally dense, portion controlled meals. Let your body start working on healing itself by itself. Start feeling that difference. And as people make that simple, easy change of crowding out the junk, entering in the food for fuel, their body will start appreciating that. And then mentally, we start being alert and being like, man, I am feeling something different right here. And then once that happens, now they can start kind of playing around and feeling for themselves, like, should I cut out a little bit of carbs? Should I eat, and they can play with it. But at first, it's just a matter of, let's just keep it simple. Let's eliminate that. Let's enter this. Allow your body to start feeling it. And it's almost guaranteed 100% of the time that whatever people are eating to get into the place where they're in, where a doctor says, hey, you need to change, that they're eating probably too much sodium, they're eating too much processed stuff, they're eating too much garbage, that once they get to the point where they start eating the food for fuel meals, it's 100 times better than whatever they've been doing,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell me about costs. Tell me about what a meal would cost, the average cost of a meal for someone like myself who's on a budget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's the daily cost and the weekly cost it would be to get meals?
So when people come in and buy meals on an individual basis in our fridge, they could get meals for $9. That includes tax. And that's a ready-to-go dinner. Throw a bunch in the fridge, throw a bunch in the freezer, and you've got, some really good nutritionally dense portion control meal. Okay. So if they pre-order it, they can get a little bit more of a discount. And we package, like, for instance, one of the packages that we have that's a really common one, it's $150. It includes 18 meals and 8 healthy snacks. So that is a variety of meals. So people that aren't like really picky and just want to have easy access to something, that's really good for them. And a lot of times people will share that in the family. We also have a weekday warrior, which people pick up on Monday, and it takes them through the week. That one's $119. It's got 12, basically it's all they need for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks for 4 days through the week.
Does that include delivery fees?
That does not. Residential delivery is $10. Delivery to one of our partners, and where we have refrigerators, is $5, and pickup is no additional charge.
Nice. And what's your favorite thing? To me, it sounds like this is Meals on Wheels. So what sets you apart from Meals on Wheels?
Well, I think Meals for Wheels is a non-for-profit, and they are mass-producing food to serve, a population that needs it, right? And I think they're serving a lot in local communities all across the country. So we're a for-profit company. We do love to do an awful lot of non-for-profit stuff, but all of our meals are made, are made fresh. They're made by our team, and we package all of our meals with love. That was one thing that I was trying to mention earlier, and I forgot. I got off track. So every meal that we make, we package that thing with love. We know that it's going to go into somebody's family, somebody's house, and help crowd something out. So that feeling of being a part of somebody's health conscious journey makes us feel really good with every meal that we lid and every label that we put on the top of it. And so we're there to help people more than just food. So one thing that we've always said is that we really are a service company more than we are a product company, and we care so much about our community. We thrive on fuel well, feel well, move more, live more, be inspired, be inspiring. That right there is pretty much our mission. And by doing that, our goal has always been, when we started Dr. Robinson, is to we call it hashtag 25 by 2025. By 2025, we want to try to help Rockford or any other local city become a top 25 healthiest place to live by 2025. And we can do that by positively impacting people, elevating health consciousness, and helping them learn how to do it on their own. And
Do you go out and speak? Do you speak at all and go on speaking engagements to kind of implement some of these strategies that you have?
we do. Well, we did. We don't do as much right now, obviously, since March. But that was a thing that I absolutely loved doing. Is whether it was sports teams or businesses, and we would go and do a lunch and learn to a business and let them know, who we are, what we do, how we can help, and we would, just have a chance to have a discussion there, with them and go over and answer some questions and stuff. So yeah, we used to do that and we loved it. But and looking forward to getting back to normal so that we can do that again, for sure.
Is that the only place they can pick up food? Do you have food repositories anywhere at businesses that people can, you have like food refrigerators anywhere
Yeah, we do.
besides the Carlson Ice Arena?
Yep, we do. We've got right now we have I think it's 15 locations in the community that have a food for fuel refrigerator. So when people go to place an order, they can choose pick up at the kitchen, they can choose residential delivery to themselves, or they can choose pick up at one of our partner sites. And that lists our partner sites. We got a bunch of maximum performance gyms and 4 of them, around town, and a couple of other places where people can select to have the food. So some people might get done with their workout. They go down to the food for fuel refrigerator, grab their meals, go home, and they're good to go. They're good to go.
That makes sense. So much sense. So much sense. So where do you see you guys in the next 5 years or the next 10 years? What is your goal for food for fuel?
We really want to just continue serving our local community. We've had the opportunity to, have conversations about expanding and growth in other markets and franchising or shipping out. It's not something that we're interested in. It takes us away from our mission. Our mission is to serve our local community. When we started this, Rockford was the number 4 most obese metropolitan city in the country. We had 72.85% of our middle school children were overweight or obese.
Wow,
and I saw that as a problem, and we wanted to be a part of the solution. So
you go into the schools? Do you offer your meals in schools?
We don't, but we knew that if we can start working with helping, people, adults and kids all change their mindset around food for fuel and what we eat. So we would talk to a lot of the athletes and help remind them that their performance matters on what they put in their body. It's just as much as studying tape as it is studying our plate. We really got to be conscious of what we're, what we're eating and drinking in order to be top performers in anything. So we really want to work on that from parents level, and then we also want to work at it, with children whenever and wherever we can. I just pulled this up. I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can really see that.
Oh yes.
Okay, but that was me when I say that's when I was chunky and funky. But
he looks like your older brother.
right. And then so with with changing my diet and just eating to fuel my body and moving a little bit more and
so you lost how much?
I total lost about 50 pounds.
That's
So,
awesome.
over time. Yeah, thank you. And it
That
was,
looks totally different. It looks like you've halved your weight. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, you may have seen like Ethan Taylor's story. He's a young man in town who was dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety. He went to college and he ended up just drinking himself to a point where he didn't go to classes. He called his mom and said, "Mom, I got to come back home. I'm a mess. I'm a mental mess. I'm a physical mess." He was 368 pounds.
Wow.
And he was just, a 19-year-old kid, freshman in college, and he was only, I think, if he ever sees this, he might get mad at me if I'm wrong, but I think he was about 5'4", 5'5", and so he came back, and his mom was like, "Jimmy, we need help." And I said, "If Ethan is ready to sit down and talk, let's do it." So we sat down, and in a year and a half, he cut his body weight in half. From 368 pounds, he lost
Wow.
184 pounds. It was nationally recognized. It was on people.com. And then the coolest thing, Dr. Robinson, is during that whole journey, he shared it with the community. The community, Food for Fuel community, followed him, supported him, loved him, lifted him up. And so then he re-inspired a lot of people in the community. He ended up running the Chicago Marathon last year, and he raised money for Action for Healthy Kids. He wanted to help fund other children that were, dealing with obesity related, issues to help have an opportunity to overcome that. And so, he had done that. It's a fantastic story.
So what did he do specifically? Did he just eat Food for Fuel? Or
Yeah,
what did he
literally.
do?
It literally started because at 368 pounds in the middle of winter, he'd come in to pick up meals. He wore shorts, a t-shirt, and Crocs, and his body could not regulate temperature. I mean, he was always hot, and it was, some below, temperature. And he came into the kitchen, and he'd lean up against the table, couldn't even stand there. He's like, "Mom, come on, just pick a couple. Let's go. I got to get out of here." And it was like that for the first couple of months. And he just lost 5 pounds here, 10 pounds there. It wasn't all perfect, but then he got to the point where he was down about 40 pounds after a few months just from changing what he was eating. And then we're like, okay, let's start going and walking on a treadmill. So we went to Anytime Fitness. We went to Maximum Performance. We started a community walking group, and I got the community to come and join him. And he just loved the support and just fed off of it and was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never felt this before. This is great. People really caring about me. And so it started. So for a year and a half, it was just food. His favorite is chicken, chicken, brown rice, and broccoli, and he'll just eat that for days and days and days. And then the other cool story, he ended up becoming a trainer at Anytime Fitness. He was the Anytime Fitness Member of the Year. They flew him to Minnesota, him and his whole family, and so he was recognized because his story was just nationally recognized. And right here out of Rockford, it was really, really cool. And then they offered him a job as a trainer there. So he's been a trainer now for almost a year at Anytime Fitness.
That's great.
It's really
So
cool.
just to wrap it up, what I've learned from you, the take home, I'm one of those people that I value food. I believe food feeds you. It is your life source. A lot of people say, eat, live to eat, but you have to eat to live. Right. And so what I've learned from you, and the take home message is, elevate your consciousness. You have to first determine that you want to do better and eat better for life. Number two, you have to put it into action. So decreasing, so portion sizes, portion control. And the one thing that I realized from you is your meal choices is protein, complex carbs, not the carbs that are bad for you. It's a complex carb plus the vegetable. And that makes sense because that's what the plate should be. It should be protein, complex carb, and a vegetable. So, and then don't overeat. So fill yourself up on the right stuff. Don't overeat. I'm a proponent of vegan diet and vegetarian diet, and that's me all day long. I believe in it. But from hearing you, you're saying, look, you don't have to be vegan to lose weight and to get healthy. You have to have elevated consciousness, mindfulness. You have to have portion control and dense food, not calorie dense food, but nutritionally dense food. which
That's
is
right.
made up of a good protein source. Because I noticed you said wild caught fish. You know, I didn't hear you say organic, non-GMO, but I'm pretty sure that's what you're pushing. Organic,
Mm-hmm.
non-GMO sources of protein, animal protein, then a complex carbohydrate, beans, really good source of rice, and a vegetable.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You're a really good listener, Dr. Robinson. Sounds like you know this lingo yourself.
well, let me tell
it's
you something. When you're
it's
dealing with
healthy
10 to
speak.
20 patients a day, you have to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and you nailed it. You summarized it all. One thing that I say, I am also a proponent of vegan and vegetarian. I think it's fantastic. If I were to eat a specific way all the time, for me, I would choose pescatarian. That's my favorite because I love eating all the greens, the salads, the veggies, but I also love a little bit of my fish. You know, I love my shrimp, I love my salmon, that type of stuff. I So here's one of the things. Like I totally agree that everybody should be looking at organic, non-GMO, and going vegan. Like I said, vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian. All those are fantastic things. What I still find every day is that to take somebody from the standard American diet again, which is fast food windows, which is highly processed, quick, path of least resistance garbage that we're putting into our body, to take people from that to organic vegan or organic vegetarian is really hard, really, really hard. That's like too many steps down the scale. Is it important? Absolutely. Would I encourage people to do it? Absolutely. Do I support it? Absolutely. But it's a big, big, big jump. It's like going from little league baseball to major league baseball. You know, you can't. It's hard for people to do that. It's like going from third grade to college. It's hard for people to do that. So I think that there's a transition in there. And so what I find, and I have seen this 100 times, hundreds of times, is that if I can get people again to elevate their health consciousness, to eat, to food their, food for fuel, fueling their body, to get rid of by crowding out the junk that's hurting them. If I can get them to do that, then in a short period of time, and it's different for everybody, but usually 21 days, 28 days, our bodies, again, I say this, I never can say this enough, are designed to heal themselves by themselves when given half the chance. So I encourage people, give your body a chance to do what it's supposed to do. Don't worry about the scale. Your body's going to do what it's going to do. My body's going to do what it's going to do. Eliminate the crap, enter the good, let it start getting to work. And then what can happen in 21 to 28 days, again, we go kind of like from this to this to this to this, because our mind gets sharper. We have much more clarity. And then all of a sudden we're like, this feels real. You know what I'm going to do for the next
Feel
2 weeks?
good.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do organic only vegetables for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to try that. Let me just see. And then, it's steps. As we elevate our health consciousness, we make better decisions. We make more decisions that impact ourselves and our family, So I think it's a process. And, I love getting a chance to talk to other health conscious people like yourself that just love to impact people's lives. And, we just love to see people change, and that transformation in the mind and then the body, and then from the body to the mind. And it just goes back and forth. And it's just, super empowering and inspiring.
Awesome. Well, I've learned a lot from you today, and I most definitely, because you're absolutely right. It's hard to go from 0 to 100. And I take my patients in steps where every week we say, okay, let's implement this, take this out this week, do this, do some fasting this week. And so most definitely I have a new partner in crime. Food for Fuel is going to be another go-to resource for me that I say, hey, you can't give up meat. Let's try something else. Or you go to work all day, you're tired at the end of the day, you end up stopping by McDonald's on the way home. Let's try Food for Fuel. Get your refrigerator full of food that is good for you, that is nutritionally dense, and that is portion controlled. And let's see what we can work. So tell us one more time how we can get a hold of this good food.
Yes, the best place to go is our Facebook page, or also we also have an Instagram page, but food4fuel.com, food4fuel.com, and it has all the different packages and opportunities there, and the deadline to order we cut off every Sunday at noon, and that's the stuff that we make for people on Monday. And then people can come into our grab and go, which is again open retail for people from 4 to 6 on Monday inside Carlton Ice Arena. And Dr. Robinson, if you think it would be advantageous to put a Food for Fuel fridge in your doctor's office and let people in the community come there to pick up at Integrative Healing Center, I'm happy to talk about it.
All right, sounds good to me. So you
All
guys
right.
know where to meet me, where to see me. ElishaRobinson.com. Go to integrativehealingdoc.com. Thank you, Jimmy Mack.
You're
Jimmy Mack.
welcome.
You
Thank
know my
you.
dad name is Jimmy Mack.
Yeah, Jimmy Mack, when are you coming
I
back?
knew I liked you for a reason.